Like, do people not eat at home? Why do you behave this way? So I want you all to picture this. Picture you and your friends decided you wanted to do something fun for the weekend. So you get dressed up, you head to this beautiful event, you bring a cake because the whole theme of the event is sweet treats and cake and everything. So you took your time to bake a cake. Let's say you're into cakes. So this is a great opportunity for you to showcase your skill. So you and your friend, you get to the event, you notice that, okay, wow, there are a lot of people here. You place your cake on the table and the organizers now say, all right, it is time for everyone to get a cake. Now, mind you, you're looking around like, there's a lot of people though, but okay. They say ready, set, go. And before you know it, this cake that you took your time to bake, before you know it, you're just seeing hands grabbing and just hands that you don't even know whether they wash or they didn't wash. No glove. They're grabbing your cake. And so at the end of it all, this cake that you took time to make, you didn't even get to taste it. You didn't even get to taste it. It was just, the cake is just a memory at this point. That is exactly what happened at the Lagos picnic, or at least that's what I saw. What is going on, my people? Welcome back to my channel. If you have not clicked the subscribe button or the like button, please help me to do that before we go on to this video. Okay, what are you waiting for? It helps YouTube to push out this video to the algorithm, because today we're discussing how something as simple as cake exposed the whole nation. There is this event kind of going around in different parts of the world, different parts of different countries, and it's called like a cake picnic. Now, different people have their names for it, but essentially the idea is that people are coming together and they are baking cakes. You are supposed to like put your own little spin and showcase your skill and different flavors and things like that. And at the end of it all, after we're all done admiring these beautiful cakes, everyone is supposed to take like a slice so they can experience different flavors. That is what it's supposed to be. It's actually a great idea, very, very cute, until the thing reached Lagos. It was cute in other places until it reached Lagos. When I tell you, the first video I saw, I was embarrassed. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I was just appalled. Mind you, these are grown people. And I really wanted to talk about this because I feel like this goes far beyond just cake and sweet treats. I really believe the way that a lot of people acted in Lagos at that cake picnic exposed so much about what is really going on in the country and also the minds of some people in Lagos. Now, I wanna preface this by saying, I'm a proud Nigerian girl. I was born in Lagos. I moved to the States when I was 7 years old. I'm not like one of these diasporans that don't even connect with their family, you know, that have the opportunity to and they simply don't. I can love my culture and also say when something is wrong.
This is what happens when over 1,300 people come together to have the largest cake potluck ever. This is the cake picnic in San Francisco's Legion of Honor, where everyone who attends is required to bring a whole cake. Think Cake Coachella or Cake Hunger Games. For the picnic, I made an orange olive oil cake with a homemade orange marmalade and dehydrated orange slices for garnish. I also paired it with a pistachio buttercream. I have to say though, I was blown away by all the other creative and colorful cakes people brought. After boinking my head on my cake box, it was off to the races. Each group had 6 minutes to get as many slices as possible, and I don't think I've ever been as stressed in my life. These 6 minutes truly felt like the Cake Hunger Games. Yeah! After the chaos, my friend Jessica and I took our slices back to our picnic to dig in, and we truly fell in love with this slice of guava cake. I went to check on my cake leftovers and there was literally nothing left except crumbs. Special thanks to Elisa for organizing such a sweet event.
The first ever cake picnic in Lagos, and it was a goodness. When I heard it was happening, I was really excited. I even baked a 12-inch lemon strawberry cake. When I got to the event center, I saw that they were still selling tickets to people who did not bring any cake. That was the first mistake they made. I got in and saw so many beautiful cakes. I couldn't wait to try them all. Before the event started, because it started quite late, I wanted to get some content with the people there. While I was filming, people suddenly started rushing at those cakes, grabbing it with their hands, chaos everywhere. I immediately ran to get my cake box. When I came back, everything was gone. The tables were empty. I could not believe my eyes. I did not get to taste my cake or any cake, in fact. Look at my empty cake box. I spent so much time, money, and resources on this cake picnic. It was so disappointing. Never again.
So now we've seen what the cake picnic was supposed to look like. Then we see what the one in Lagos looked like. First of all, let's talk about what this cake picnic exposed. I'm not gonna blame it 100% on the organizers, but I feel like they had a very big role in what happened. I really feel like this was a cash grab for them. And that's just my personal opinion, and I'm gonna stand on that. They saw this event and they were like, okay, let's bring it to Lagos. And maybe the intent in the beginning was like a fun event, but the fact that you're selling tickets to people who aren't even bringing cakes. You see the amount of people that were at the Lagos cake picnic versus the amount of cakes. And then when you watch the other videos, you see that, I mean, my goodness, there were just as many people as there were cakes, because in order to go to this cake picnic, you had to bring a cake, right? But I feel like the greed sometimes in Nigeria needs to be studied. Now, granted, it's not just Nigeria. There are greedy people everywhere. I feel like someone who knows the nature of the average Nigerian in Nigeria, you should know that something like this was not going to go well. But at the end of the day, you got your money, Abi. There's no way you can convince me that you thought this event was gonna go smoothly. First of all, I'm sorry, but knowing Nigerians is one of those things. In fact, somebody should have been there to even pre-slice the cake. If you see at these other events, even when they say, all right, everybody go, and people are kind of like running, you know, kind of lightly jogging to the cake, there is still decency. Even with the rush, people are cutting a decent slice. If you were gonna give people boxes, knowing that you sold more tickets than there were cakes, the wise thing would have been, when the MC is like entertaining the crowd or whatever, you have one of your organizers or one of the volunteers go and literally cut reasonable slices. Even though, yes, granted, some people will take more than, you know, at least when you tell them, okay, one slice, take one slim slice per cake, at least someone else can be like, you know, it's only one slice now. But when you leave people with whole cakes, with people who have the mindset that I need to take as much as possible, why won't they become animalistic? Okay, so the organizers are definitely responsible. The next thing that this revealed to me was just the anyhowness that is acceptable in our culture. Dealing with some Nigerian businesses, there's an anyhowness that is like plaguing the land. I'm telling you, there is a lack of organization. Again, going back to the organizers, as you can see, one of the videos, it started late. Okay, and that's another thing too that I feel like we feel like it's a part of our culture. You see somebody come into someone's wedding 5 hours late. That stuff irks me. But then it's like, well, even if you're a timely person, you don't want to show up, and in fact, they're even asking you to, you know, blow balloons and set up tables. So you show up late. And so it just breeds this cycle. It's like, are we ever going to break free from this? There's a lack of organization, and there's also an anyhowness. And I feel like we also do the bare minimum just to get by, right? So I want you to notice that in all these other videos, the cakes seem to be a reasonable size. I saw a cake at the Lagos picnic that was literally like this size. I saw one that was a big pan. Don't get me wrong, it was a big pan of cake, no frosting, no decoration, no thought into the cake. You see how the other people, she put her oranges on there, she put the little rosemary and the little, I mean, she uses as an opportunity to showcase her skill. But when it comes to us, we just want to do the bare minimum to get by. I'm looking at the cake inside the foil pan. I think there were 2 cakes inside the foil pan. One even looks like somebody was picking it as they were driving to the cake picnic. What made you think it was okay? And the organizers, what made you think it was okay to accept this? Why didn't you state that, first of all, you need a cake to get in? And you have to know that with Nigerians, you have to give them stipulations. Otherwise, they're gonna do whatever they want, bare minimum, okay? And say you have to bring a 12-inch cake. That's what I would have done. You have to set those boundaries. The cake has to be 12 inches, and you can either buy it or you can bring it, but it has to be this dimension. Otherwise, you'll have people trying to get the most. Like, they're coming there for cake, but they just want to give the smallest they can give so they can go and collect somebody's cake. Also, there's like this disregard when it comes to order. And there's also an inability to, like, for us to queue up and stand in a line. Why is it that I'm watching videos of Davido and Choma's wedding, a wedding that was $3.7 million, and then when it comes to the line for amala, and I know, listen, people love their amala. Yoruba people, they love their amala. I think I've tried amala like twice, and I like it, but it's not worth it for me to be behaving like I've never eaten before. Why am I looking at people in their nice suits with their bowls hanging out as if it's feed the children? And you're disturbing the amala lady. There's so much stress, there's so much chaos. And then when people say that people in Africa are starving, then you'll be offended. But look how you're behaving for cake, for amala, as if you have never eaten amala before. As a matter of fact, you're gonna go to a wedding next week and it's gonna be the same food that you're eating. It just goes to show that even when we get out of poverty, we get our big boy, big girl jobs, we still have that mindset. And the thing is, because nobody wants to miss out and you guys aren't queuing, and I'm like, shoot, I don't want to be the only one that's not getting amala. Me too, I now jump in the behavior. And I'm now holding my plates at $3.7 million event of Davido and Choma, and I'm begging for amala. Can you imagine? And it's like, I'm sorry, like, I'll just, like, do people not eat at home? Why do you behave this way? Why? Maka, why? You'll even see it at airports. When you go to an airport, you just see the rush. What are we rushing for? It's almost like we feel like, oh my God, we're gonna miss this thing. We don't know how to stand in one line, single filed line, patiently. What is the rush? Is it that we're plagued with the fear of missing out? What are we missing out on? Please. You can't wait in the line for the shuttle bus as if there's only one shuttle bus coming, and if you don't get on that shuttle bus, you're gonna miss the flight. And sometimes I blame some of these airline companies because they're so inconsistent and they're so unreliable that people are like, I can't miss this flight. But I just remember, like, wow, you're in this cattle call, and people, grown women, grown men, they're rushing to get through this door to get on this shuttle bus. And it has just become behavior that we have just accepted. And that's like how we are. And I'm like, God, I wish this thing could really change. Even when there's traffic light, you see people don't even regard it. The traffic light is there to decorate Lagos. Now, I actually have never been to Abuja, but I hear that Abuja is more organized, right? When I went back in December, you'll see that there'll be like a whole bunch of traffic. And instead of you to just, okay, yes, it's not ideal, just stay in the line, eventually the traffic will go away. You will see people, they'll veer off on a place that they're not even supposed to drive on. Create their own path because they don't want to wait in line. And then if somebody says something, they're, who are you to talk to me? Don't you know that I am this chief and this is, shut up your mouth, you bastard, you, just hurling insults. Some of them will even go as far as, okay, there's traffic going this way. They're gonna take their car, turn it the opposite way. Even if it's a one way, they will drive you are coming this way, they're coming this, they don't care. They don't care because they don't want to stay in the line. What is really going on? Funny story, when I think this was like, I was like 24, I went back to Nigeria. We were driving to the village and our bus driver, I feel like he was a hot-tempered man, okay? We were in traffic, he was driving for this company called God is Good. God is good and you are hot-tempered. We even prayed, at the beginning of every bus ride, like, that's kind of what we do. So he's driving, we got to a place where there was a bit of traffic. This man decided he didn't want to be in this traffic and he was kind of driving a little fast, I'm not gonna lie. So he now veers off on this path. And you have people on the streets that they're not being paid to like be the road conductors, but they take it upon themselves for whatever reason. I don't know if that validates them to feel like they're in leadership position. Okay, so he now drives after these people are conducting the road and trying to direct traffic. He's doing his own thing. He drives. Do you know that the man outside that took it upon himself to be a conductor reached and slapped our bus driver? When I tell you, I have never seen a grown man turn like red. The way I was so afraid that day, I said, Auntie, let them not come and light this bus up. Because this bus driver got out, hot-tempered. This one too is hot-tempered. Me and my auntie are just like, what in the world is going on? Only in Nigeria that stuff can happen. You would never see that happen in the United States, in Asia. And my friend was saying, we're talking yesterday about possibly a trip to Japan. And she was saying that in Japan, because a lot of them are, I don't want to say people pleasers, but there's this thing of they don't want to be shamed. So they kind of follow, that's just kind of how their culture is. They don't want to be shamed. So certain things won't really fly. They, you know, they're not that loud. Not also. Yeah, in fact, they are the king and queens of shamelessness. Honestly, a lot of y'all in Nigeria, you're actually very lucky that I'm not into politics, because the laws I would put in place, and it's one of those things where some people, they may not like it, right? When you put laws and you put consequences in place, but it's needed. And eventually it'll make for a better society. Another thing that this cake picnic exposed is the scarcity mindset and the poverty mindset. I don't know the trauma that has caused us to have, or the average Nigerian, let me say, to have that scarcity mindset. Is it the colonizers? Is it the government? Is it upbringing? I don't know what causes us to have that scarcity mindset that, oh, more will not come, so let me take and take now. And you'll see it even at weddings. People will take boxes but not even considering, okay, let me just take 2 to go plate. They'll pack. They'll send their children to come and get plate upon plate rice that, the rice will even eventually spoil, you know. And so not really considering, you know, that, hey, other people have to eat as well. So just take a reasonable portion. Yes, there's a lot of food, but why is it that you have to take 8 and send your kid to now come and take so much, and you're fighting with the food lady? Why? And I really feel like this was probably what was triggered in the minds of the people at the Lagos cake picnic, because maybe some people had the mind of, okay, let me just take, you know, a decent slice and go. But once you start seeing people grabbing, I feel like for some people, it just turns on something that like, me too, let me join them and grab, because I may not get cake, right? Now, granted, I don't know everybody's situation, but from the looks of it, these people are dressed nice, they look good. So I'm gonna say these are not homeless people, okay? And one thing I was even talking to a friend about was the fact that even when people come abroad, Nigerians come abroad, and they're doing better in life, they get to a stable position, you still see like remnants of that scarcity mindset. For example, she was telling me how her mom, anytime there's something free, her mom will say, go and take, go, you know. But it's like, you don't really need this free item. Sometimes they're just taking because it's that mindset of, I don't know when next something like this will come, or let me take and keep, and you never know when we'll use it. You'll notice this a lot too when you go into the homes of a lot of Africans, and I feel like that's why millennials, like our generation, we prefer minimalism, and not just Africans too. I even hear like African Americans, Hispanics, you know, they talk about how their parents tend to hoard things. Even like Indians, they tend to hoard things in the house. They pack so much, they don't want to let things go. And it's just that they're just not brought up to maybe have an abundance mindset that, okay, well, I haven't used this shirt in 12 years. Maybe I should give it away. They're like, no, because you don't know when next I'll need it. But you haven't used it. There was even a time where I had to talk to my mom, because I remember she brought like these big cans of string beans, green beans, right? Like maybe 4 or 5. I was like, Mommy, where'd you get these cans? She's like, oh, they were giving them out in this place. And, you know, I said, let me just take some. I said, Mommy, we don't need this. You don't need this. Why not, you know, let the people who are actually in need get it? You know, you don't know when you use it. So you don't know. Ask me if she ever used those cans of string beans. Now, granted, they're cans and they can last long and all that stuff. But I just told myself, I don't want that mindset of lack and just holding on to things, right? To the point where whenever I go to a Nigerian wedding and they offer me a souvenir, you know, that's something that is very common. You'll see the aunties grabbing souvenirs and giving them out. I told myself, if it's not something I genuinely care for, or I don't care to use, I will just politely decline or just give it to someone else. Okay? So I don't need any more fans. It's good. Maybe on the day of, sometimes I'll even bring my own fan, right? So there's no point in me taking this fan. Some things, you know, they're giving me some Tupper. I don't need this. Now, let's say if it's a journal or something like that I use often, I'll probably take it. But one, I don't like clutter, and I like to keep my space simple. And I just don't want to have that mindset of just because something is free, it means that I must take it. It really doesn't, right? There's gonna be more things in the future, more things coming up that I'll be able to partake in. I'm just so against that mindset, and I have to train my brain essentially to not have that scarcity and poverty mindset. And my dear, lastly, you will see that unfortunately, because the government in Nigeria is so corrupt, People are so greedy. Instead of taking on this position and looking out for the people, you're looking out for your children, making sure they're going to the best schools. You're making sure that you are taken care of. You leave the people to fend for themselves, right? Because you are thinking about yourself. I mean, what you're even giving them is crumbs. They're forced to fend for themselves. And so it's like, when does the cycle really end? I'm telling you, I was even talking to someone. I was like, you know what? If God put it on my heart to donate $5 million, if I had that, I mean, I don't have yet, but you know, I plan to be a philanthropist in the future, right? If I want to donate $5 million to the betterment of, let's say, Nigerian roads and, you know, build, you know, make the roads nice. By the time that money gets to the road, right? Because, you know, you have to go through government and all that. Let's say 5 million. Okay, you got to pay something. Okay, cool. By the time that money touches the road, I'm even lucky if $9,000 will get to be used to that road, because you will see the greed, the bribery, no care for the betterment of society. Everybody is just every man for himself. Even when you're coming back from the airport and okay, they say the bag is overweight, instead of them charging it to that airline so that the airline can get their proper fees, you'll see them tell you to send them money to their own personal bank account. So disregarding, they don't even mind if they burn bridges or whatever. Every man for themselves. That is their hustle. Policemen, because they're not being paid, you know, a good amount. You see them just scarcity. Let me just get what I can take. Okay, the government is not going to feed me. Let me take what I can take, and if that means I have to bribe or do this or, you know, slip up under the table. Now, granted, policemen here do their shady stuff too, right? But it's so prevalent that we've just become used to it. And so, my dear, this thing tire me. I'm not lying to you. When I saw the video, I was so embarrassed. I am telling you, because it exposed so much more. And my thing is, like, it wasn't even like it was like they were passing out frozen goat's meat, passing out frozen chicken that, okay, you can, you know, bags of rice, cake. So, and I'm like, some of you probably don't even, first of all, some of y'all don't even need to be eating that cake. And then second of all, how long is cake gonna even last that you're fighting and behaving this way because of cake? My dear, let me know what you think about everything I've said in this video. What do you agree with? What do you disagree with? Now, granted, I know that every country has its issues. This is not to talk down on my people, but we have to say these things. I'm sorry, we have to expose these things. I still love my culture. If you were to bring me back, I would want to be Nigerian 1,000 times over. But this cake picnic has showed so much, and I really hope that change comes. So anyway, comments below. Let's have a conversation, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.